tensions within the Zulu Royal family mean for the kingdom and for traditional leadership at large. Let's speak now to the General Secretary of the Congress of Traditional Leaders of South Africa, Zolani Mkiva. Mr. Mkiva, sir, good evening to you. I do appreciate your time tonight. On The Pulse, we have a royal family here arguing in public about matters of inheritance. It goes into the family history. How do you feel when you see these matters being argued in public?
Well, we would have preferred that this matter is handled internally so that it could remain within the corridors of the royal concourse. And unfortunately, because we have a dual justice system, other people prefer to opt for going to the courts, which are using Roman Dutch laws. So we would have really have to appealed, as the president of Condoleezza Mogoena had indicated late last year, that if these matters could be resolved within the royal household. But unfortunately, it's out there now in the open. We hope and wish that it could be speedily resolved, because one of the things that it does is that it hinders progress from happening, and as such, a lot of work is not happening in the kingdom of AmaZulu as a result of these legal challenges.
I mean, if you look at the legal challenges today, it would seem that this could go on for a very long time. There'll be other court applications, there'll be delays and postponements. It's all in public, everyone's going to focus on this. I mean, do you worry that this could seriously damage the institution?
Well, Stephen, as Condoleezza, we have been saying for a long time now that perhaps time has come for the country to establish a specialized court which is going to focus on traditional matters, because these matters are quite complex and they are quite many. You will never really get justice if you want to sort of make a judgment on a matter that is traditional, but you are using something that is a foreign instrument to sort of arbiter. So I think there has to be really a consideration of a pink paper, green paper, and white paper, which must ensure the establishment of such a court, because there are a whole range of challenges which are linked to indigenous matters, traditional matters, and it's only fair for this to go through under the stewardship of people who understand our culture and people who understand how matters of this nature are resolved. Because what the Roman Dutch law court system does is to make a presumptuous conclusion, which really falters a tradition. And we have seen it happening in the New South Africa. So there is really a need of a specialized court in this regard.
I mean, a specialized court, it's a really interesting idea. It would still need a judge or an arbitrator of some kind. It would need someone who really understands
There is no question about that.
Go on.
There is no question about that. Even those graduates who are advocates and judges, they can be sort of workshopped and aligned in terms of African laws and customary laws. But what I can assure you is that we've got quite a number of experts who are organic in terms of indigenous laws, African laws, who can help. And we think that a court of this nature, which is a specialized traditional court, it will have to be customized accordingly. It can't be benchmarked on the basis of Eurocentric decorums and protocols of how cases are handled. It needs to be benchmarked along the lines of where we come from as a people culturally, because it's not like there aren't there courts right now which deal with traditional affairs. It's just that they are not recognized in terms of the country justice system. If you go to communities, communities are able to handle these matters. But when someone is aggrieved, then moves out of the community and decides to drive to town to magistrates as well as high courts of this land. So all we are saying is that given the fact that we don't have a specialized court that deals with traditional affairs, we think it would only be fair that we have a court of that level, which has a full understanding, and doesn't have to work along the same lines. And it must clearly and must be really be linked to how a cultural function is done when we seek a restorative justice. So it will have to be really be benchmarked in accordance to the outlook of our culture and tradition.
This is not the first time we've seen a case involving a dispute around inheritance, sometimes even succession. I mean, some of these cases have gone all the way to the Constitutional Court. The president sometimes has to make a decision. Are we seeing more disputes than we used to in our history?
Yes, I must actually confirm that in the new South Africa we have seen an over-proliferation of disputes and claims. And quite clearly, because for a long period of time people haven't been free to express themselves, in a manner that is more open. And so we shouldn't really be surprised by that. It is linked to the disenfranchisement which has occurred for more than 400 years. And now that people are free, they are bound to make these claims. They are bound to make these disputes or declare these disputes in certain instances. And all we need to do, a specialized court will help us to expedite in terms of considering these matters and attending to them so that they are resolved. The reason why we are moving in circles is because they are sent in a wrong direction. We need to have a central point that has a clear understanding of what we are talking about so that they can be resolved once and for all. We have had commissions that deal with disputes and claims in traditional leadership. Those commissions have come and gone, but the disputes and claims remain. So we believe that the final arbiter to these matters is when in the country, at a very high level, we have a specialized court, as I want to emphasize this point, a specialized court that deals with traditional affairs in the country. It's not only issues of leadership, it's also claims and disputes that are linked to family issues that are related to tradition, rites, and rituals. And this court can help us a long way to settle these matters and to ensure that there's stability in families as well as in royal households.
Zolani Mkiva, sir, thank you very much indeed, the General Secretary there of Controlesa.